Most people believe they know exactly what it takes to build strong muscles. Load up on protein powders, eat more chicken, maybe drink a gallon of milk a day. But here's the truth I've seen again and again in my years of medical practice. What you've been told is a muscle miracle might actually be holding you back, and in some cases, even making you weaker. Now, I know that sounds controversial. Some of you might be nodding your head because you've already noticed that the results just aren't there, no matter how much protein you throw at the problem. Others might be skeptical, thinking, wait, how could something that's supposed to build strength actually work against me? That's exactly what we're going to unpack today. And here's the value for you. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why this common belief is flawed, but you'll also discover a powerful, everyday food, one most people overlook, that could become your secret weapon against muscle loss and premature aging. This is the kind of insight you won't find in commercials, glossy magazines, or even most nutrition textbooks. But don't skip ahead, because each step we cover builds on the last. Miss one part, and you'll miss the full picture of how to unlock your body's natural ability to grow and protect muscle. I'll even share a timing trick at the end that could literally double the results you get from the foods you already eat. And one more thing. If you like to follow along with an outline or take quick notes, I've made it easy. You'll find a full set of video notes and references linked right down in the description. So stick with me, because what you're about to learn might just change the way you think about building strength for the rest of your life. For decades, we've been told the same simple formula for building muscle. Drink more milk, eat more meat, maybe toss in a few scoops of whey protein powder. End of story, right? It sounds logical. Protein equals muscle. At least that's what we were all taught. But here's the uncomfortable truth I've witnessed time and again. That advice is only a tiny slice of the picture. And if you're relying on it alone, especially as you get older, you may be fighting a losing battle. See, the human body is a little more complicated than eat protein, grow muscle. Researchers have studied men and women over the age of 60 who followed that exact advice. They ate what looked like enough protein every single day. And yet, despite doing what they were told, they still lost 1 to 2% of their muscle mass each year. Imagine that, doing everything right, but watching your strength slip away anyway. Why does this happen? The answer is something most people have never even heard of. It's called anabolic resistance. Think of it like this. When you're young, your muscles are like sponges. Every bit of protein you eat gets absorbed and put to work. But as the years go by, that sponge starts to stiffen. Your body becomes less responsive, less efficient at turning protein into actual muscle. So even if you're eating chicken, eggs, or protein shakes, a big part of it never gets used the way you hope. And that's where the frustration sets in. You try harder, you eat more, maybe you even double down on supplements. But the gains just don't come. The truth is, it's not your fault. It's your body's changing biology. And unless you know how to work with it, not against it, you'll keep spinning your wheels. Now let me pause here and ask you something. If simply piling on more protein isn't enough, what is? What's the missing piece that can actually flip the switch so your muscles listen again and start rebuilding the way they're supposed to? That's the million-dollar question. And here's the good news. There is an answer. Science has uncovered certain foods, and specific ways of eating them, that can overcome anabolic resistance. Some of them are so ordinary, you probably have them sitting in your kitchen right now. They don't look like miracle cures. They don't come in shiny bottles. But they hold the key to protecting your strength as you age. And in just a moment, I'm going to reveal the very first one. It's simple, it's accessible, and it's probably something you've overlooked your entire life. Once you understand why it works, it will completely change the way you think about building muscle. So stay with me, because this next food might surprise you more than anything you've heard so far. The very first food I want to share with you is one you've probably heard of before, but maybe you've never really thought of it as a muscle food. It's salmon. Yes, that pink, flaky fish you see at the grocery store or on a restaurant menu. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Salmon? Isn't that just for people on fancy diets? But hear me out. Salmon is one of the most underrated tools we have for protecting and rebuilding muscle, especially as we get older. Here's why. Salmon is packed with omega-3 fatty acids. And omega-3s don't just support heart health or brain health, which is what you usually hear about. They play a powerful role in muscle health too. In simple terms, omega-3s make your muscles more sensitive to the protein you eat. Think of it like turning up the volume on a stereo. Suddenly, your muscles can hear the signal from amino acids more clearly. That signal tells them, hey, it's time to grow. It's time to repair. Without omega-3s, a lot of that signal gets lost. Your muscles may not respond as strongly, even if you're eating enough protein. But with omega-3s in the mix, the same amount of protein becomes more effective. It's like getting extra mileage out of the fuel you're already putting in. And this isn't just theory. Clinical studies have tested this in older adults. In one trial, people over 60 who took omega-3s consistently increased their muscle-building ability by around 30% compared to those who didn't. 30%! That's the difference between feeling weaker year after year and actually regaining strength you thought was gone for good. I'll never forget one of my patients, a gentleman in his early 70s. He'd always been active, but in recent years he noticed his legs felt heavy, and even simple things like climbing stairs wore him out. He wasn't keen on taking more pills or powders, so we tried something simple. Salmon, twice a week. Grilled, baked, sometimes in a salad, nothing complicated. 6 months later, he came into my office grinning. He told me, "Doc, I can carry my groceries up the stairs again without stopping." That kind of change doesn't just happen by accident. It's nutrition working hand in hand with the body's natural repair systems. Now, I'm not saying you have to eat salmon every single day. In fact, you don't. Just 2 servings a week can make a noticeable difference. And if you prepare it the right way, you'll get the most out of those omega-3s. My personal tip? Bake or grill your salmon with a drizzle of olive oil, maybe a squeeze of lemon. That way, you keep the healthy fats intact. What you want to avoid is deep frying, which can destroy those delicate oils and even add harmful ones in their place. Another little bonus: salmon also delivers vitamin D and high-quality protein, both of which are essential for strong bones and muscles. It's like getting a package deal, 3 benefits in one food. And unlike some supplements that promise the world but deliver very little, salmon is something you can put on your plate tonight and start enjoying right away. So the bottom line here is simple. If you're struggling with muscle loss or just want to hold on to your strength as you age, salmon deserves a spot on your menu. It's not flashy, it's not exotic, but it works. And remember, this is just the first food on the list. We're only getting started. Because while salmon is a fantastic ally, the next food I'm about to reveal is even more powerful in ways that might surprise you. In fact, it's a food the dairy industry would rather you not know too much about. Why? Because if more people understood how it works, it could completely change the way we think about building muscle without relying on milk or protein shakes. So don't go anywhere. You're about to learn something that could shake up everything you thought you knew about muscle health. The second food on our list might surprise you because most people don't think of it as muscle fuel. But it absolutely is. I'm talking about aged cheeses, things like Parmesan, ricotta, and even good old cottage cheese. Now, why cheese? Here's the science in plain English. These cheeses are loaded with an amino acid called leucine. And leucine is special. It acts like the ignition switch for muscle growth. Inside your body, there's a pathway called mTOR. It's basically the on-off switch for muscle building. Without leucine, that switch just sits there in the off position. But once you get enough leucine, it flips on, telling your body, okay, it's time to repair, it's time to grow. here's the kicker. Research shows that it only takes about 3 grams of leucine in a meal to flip that switch. Just 3 grams. But a lot of people, especially older adults, don't realize that cheese is one of the richest, most concentrated sources of leucine out there. In fact, certain cheeses pack more leucine per gram than chicken breast, which has always been marketed as the ultimate muscle food. Let me give you a simple comparison. If you take 100 grams of chicken breast, you'll get about 1.5 to 1.8 grams of leucine. Not bad. But that same 100 grams of Parmesan cheese? You're looking at well over 3 grams. That's enough to flip the muscle-building switch all by itself. And the best part? Parmesan isn't the only option. Ricotta and cottage cheese are also excellent sources, and they come with an added bonus. They digest more slowly, providing a steady stream of amino acids to your muscles while you rest. I once worked with a retired teacher who swore by her nightly cottage cheese ritual. At first, she only ate it because she liked the taste, and it helped her sleep better. But after a few months, we noticed something remarkable. Her muscle strength tests actually improved. When we looked closer, it was clear. That steady leucine boost before bed was giving her muscles the signal they needed to recover overnight. And that brings us to the practical side. How to actually use this in your own life. You don't need to eat giant blocks of cheese to see benefits. A sprinkle of Parmesan over your salad, a spoonful of ricotta in your pasta, or even a small bowl of cottage cheese before bed can do the trick. It's simple, it's enjoyable, and it delivers exactly what your muscles are craving. Now, here's a little pro tip. Timing matters. Eating cheese at night, just a small portion, nothing heavy, can be especially effective. Why? Because your body does the majority of its repair work while you sleep. Giving your muscles leucine right before bed is like handing them the exact tool they need at the exact time they need it. Instead of waiting until the next morning for fuel, your muscles can dive straight into recovery mode. This is something most people never think about, and honestly, the supplement companies won't tell you either. Because if you knew that a little bit of cheese at the right time could rival their powders, you might not be reaching for those tubs of protein anymore. So here's the takeaway. Parmesan, ricotta, cottage cheese. These aren't just comfort foods. They're powerful, natural muscle activators. They're affordable, accessible, and they fit easily into meals you're already eating. And the best part? You don't need a lot. Just the right amount at the right time can change the game for your strength and recovery. And remember, this is only the second food. As impressive as leucine-packed cheese can be, the next solution takes muscle repair to an entirely different level. And it comes with a secret most people have never heard about. Stick with me, because what's coming next could be the missing piece you've been searching for. Here's something that catches almost everyone off guard. It's not always about how much you eat, but when you eat. We've all been told to load up on protein during the day, to hit a certain number of grams, to make sure we're eating enough. But science paints a different picture. The real secret to stronger muscles isn't just the amount, it's the timing. Think about this. Nearly 80% of your muscle repair happens at night while you sleep. 8 out of every 10 fixes your body does to your muscles are happening in the dark, long after your last workout is over. So if you give your muscles the right tools right before bedtime, you're literally fueling them at the exact moment they need it most. Skip that window, and it's like leaving the workers at a construction site without their tools. The job just doesn't get done as well. And this is where the smart combinations come into play. One of my favorites? Pairing cheese with walnuts. On the surface, it might sound simple, almost too simple. But let me explain why it works. Cheese, especially aged varieties, is rich in leucine, that special amino acid that flips the switch for muscle growth. Walnuts, on the other hand, carry melatonin and other compounds that help your body ease into deeper, higher quality sleep. Put them together, and you've got a double win: stronger muscle repair and better rest, both happening at the same time. There's actual research to back this up. A Harvard study found that when people improved their sleep quality, the benefits carried over into their workouts. In fact, the participants who slept better saw up to a 20% increase in their exercise performance. 20%, just from sleeping better. Now imagine stacking that with the muscle-activating power of leucine right before bed. That's when recovery shifts into high gear. Let me share a story. I once worked with a man in his mid-60s. Let's call him John. He had been lifting weights for years but was frustrated. No matter what he ate during the day, he kept waking up sore, stiff, and discouraged. His strength gains had completely stalled. We made one small change. Instead of going to bed on an empty stomach, or with just a glass of milk, he started having a small evening snack, a little cottage cheese sprinkled with walnuts. Nothing heavy, nothing fancy. Within 2 months, John's soreness disappeared. He woke up feeling rested. His workouts finally started paying off again, and the smile on his face told the whole story. It wasn't about eating more. It was about eating smarter. And that brings us to the real takeaway here. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Don't waste the 30 minutes before you go to sleep. That small window is pure gold for your muscles. A light snack that combines leucine-rich foods with something that supports sleep is like pressing the accelerator pedal on your recovery. You're giving your body exactly what it's craving at the moment it can use it best. Most people completely overlook this. They hit their protein goals at lunch, maybe after the gym, and then stop thinking about it. But without fuel at night, your muscles are left waiting. That's why timing isn't just important. It's the missing piece. And here's the kicker. This overlooked timing factor is so powerful that if you ignore it, every other effort, every rep, every set, every protein shake loses a big chunk of its potential. But if you get it right, suddenly everything starts working together. The food, the exercise, the sleep, they all align. And that's exactly why this piece matters so much. Because without it, you're missing the very thing that turns all your hard work into real results. Here's something that might surprise you. You can eat all the right foods, take every supplement, and still not see the results you want if you spend most of your day sitting still. Muscles don't just respond to nutrition, they respond to signals. And one of the strongest signals is movement. Without it, your body doesn't get the message that those nutrients should go toward building strength. It's like pouring water on dry soil without planting a seed. Nothing really grows. Now, I'm not talking about hours in the gym or pushing yourself to exhaustion. The fascinating part is that even the smallest movements can make a meaningful difference. Just 10 minutes of light exercise before a meal can prime your muscles to soak up nutrients more efficiently. Think of it as waking them up, letting your body know, hey, something important is about to happen. Get ready to use this fuel wisely. Science backs this up in a big way. One study found that taking a brisk 15-minute walk before dinner improved the absorption of amino acids by 25%. That's huge. A quarter more nutrition actually reaching the muscle simply because of a short walk. No extra protein shake, no expensive supplement. Just moving your body a little before you eat. And I've seen this play out in real life too. One of my patients, a man in his 70s, had been losing strength steadily despite eating well. He felt discouraged, like no matter what he tried, his body just wasn't responding. Instead of asking him to overhaul his whole lifestyle, I suggested something simple: 10 mini squats a day. That's it. Not a workout plan, not a gym membership. Just standing near a chair for balance and slowly sitting back and standing up 10 times. At first he laughed. It seemed almost too easy to matter. But after a few weeks, he started noticing little changes. He felt steadier on his feet. His legs didn't tire as quickly when he climbed stairs. And when we checked his muscle function after a couple of months, the improvement was undeniable. His body was finally listening, finally using the nutrients he was giving it, because the movement had flipped that internal switch. That's the beauty of this approach. It's accessible. You don't need fancy equipment or a trainer hovering over you. You just need to remind your body that it was built to move. Even walking around the house before dinner, doing a light stretch, or knocking out a handful of squats can send the signal your muscles are waiting for. Here's a simple way to put it into practice tonight. About 20 to 30 minutes before your evening meal, set aside just 5 to 10 minutes for movement. Walk around the block. If the weather's bad, walk laps inside your home. If you'd rather stay in one place, do some easy bodyweight moves, mini squats, gentle calf raises, or even just standing up and sitting down a few times. Then, sit down to your meal knowing that your body is primed to use every ounce of that nutrition to strengthen and repair. The key idea here is simple but powerful. Food gives your body the building blocks, but movement tells your body where to put them. Without movement, those building blocks just sit there, unused. With even the lightest activity, suddenly everything connects. The nutrition, the recovery, the growth. So don't underestimate those few minutes of light exercise. They may look small on the outside, but inside your body, they're flipping the very switch that decides whether you keep losing muscle or start gaining it back. So now you know, building muscle isn't just about piling on more protein. It's about a smarter, more complete strategy. Omega-3s from salmon that make your muscles more responsive. Leucine-rich cheeses that flip the growth switch. Eating at the right time so your body can rebuild overnight. And just a little bit of movement to tell your muscles, yes, it's time to grow. The real takeaway here is simple. Sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, doesn't have to be your fate. It's not some unstoppable destiny. It's often just the result of habits that no one ever told us to question. And the beautiful thing is, you can change those habits starting today. You can take back your strength, protect your independence, and feel confident in your own body again. If this video gave you something valuable, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with the people you care about, your parents, your grandparents, or a friend who might need this knowledge. Because the truth is, strong muscles aren't just about looking fit. They're about living fully, with energy and freedom, at every age.